The title race was done and dusted. Well, in reality it's not. But if you take a look at the fans' reaction over the last week, especially after that unexpected loss to Crystal Palace at Anfield, you'd think Liverpool was 15 points behind with no hope left in the title chase. Yet here we are, another game down, with only 5 left to play. Liverpool is in second place with 74 points, behind Arsenal on goal difference, and just 1 point ahead of Manchester City, who still have a game in hand. And yes guys, you heard that right, we've only got 5 more games with Klopp at the helm, so let's savour every minute. Now given the recent mood swings, recurring defensive lapses, and a dry spell for strikers, let us be honest and say that here at Panenka, we were not the most optimistic going into the game at Craven Cottage against Fulham. But it looked like Klopp had something up his sleeve to shake things up and rid the team of their mental and physical fatigue that plagued them in recent weeks. So in case you missed yesterday's match, or you're eager for a deeper dive into the details, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and let's jump right into it. It's been a rough few days for Liverpool, hasn't it? First crashing out of the Europa League to Atalanta, then taking a major hit in the title race against Crystal Palace, but I think we can all agree it's the performances more than the results that have really got us worried, right? The team has seemed exhausted, prone to being caught out on transitions and counter-attacks, and they've really struggled to break down compact defences. Even on the rare occasion they broke through, like in the second half against Palace, the finishing was more wasteful than ever. Did you know that in the 315 minutes of play leading up to the Fulham game, Liverpool racked up an expected goals tally of 8.99, but didn't score a single open play goal? Their only scores come from penalties against United and Atalanta. Defensively, it's been a recurring theme that the Reds often concede the first big chance in nearly every game. This stems from the physical and mental toll taken by their aggressive style of play. And while they've managed to come back before, this habit of giving up the first big chance or a goal has increasingly led to games where they fail to convert their own opportunities. Another glaring issue has been Liverpool's difficulty in breaking down tight defences. They struggled against Atalanta's man-to-man marking and couldn't make a dent in Palace's 5-man back line during the first half. This was partly due to the lack of movement off of the ball and the team not executing their usual fluid rotations, making it all too easy for their opponents. We won't sugarcoat it. As we said, we weren't exactly brimming with confidence heading into the Fulham game. The same problems seemed likely to pop up. But then we saw the changes Jurgen Klopp made to his lineup, and suddenly it seemed we might be in for something a bit different. Alisson held his spot as first-choice goalkeeper, with Virgil van Dijk and Jarell Quansah forming the central defensive pairing. Andy Robertson took up his usual role at left-back, while Trent Alexander-Arnold made a much-anticipated return to the starting 11 after being sidelined for 2 months, and what a return it was. Wataru Endo continued as the defensive midfielder, but it was further up the pitch where the significant changes kicked in. Dominic Szoboszlai, Alexis McAllister and Curtis Jones were all given a rest, making way for Harvey Elliott and Ryan Gravenberch to start as the advanced midfielders. But that's not all, there were shifts in the forward line too. Luis Diaz was the lone holdover up front as both Mo Salah and Darwin Núñez made way for Diogo Jota and Cody Gakpo. These weren't just rotational changes, they fundamentally altered the team's dynamics, leading to a noticeably improved performance. It wasn't perfect, but for a long time it didn't feel like the game was slipping through the players' fingers. So, shall we dive into the match details? Under Marco Silva, Fulham is known for effectively blocking the central areas, largely thanks to one of the league's best tacklers, João Paulina. Liverpool responded with an unusual build-up formation, 4 at the back, Trent staying wide and occasionally dropping into the pivot, Elliott dropping deep alongside Endo, and a quartet of attackers featuring Diaz on the right, Gakpo on the left, Jota centrally in front of Gravenberch. This setup aimed to disrupt Fulham's solid central defensive structure. This tactic was designed to stretch Fulham's defensive block, creating channels for players like Luis Diaz and Diogo Jota to exploit. However, with Liverpool's usual slow build-up through the centre not up to par, the team opted for a more direct approach, sending long balls over the top to the strikers. Now here's the main issue. There was a noticeable disconnect between different phases of play, as the backline often struggled to deliver the ball consistently to the forwards, resulting in a lack of clear-cut goal-scoring opportunities. Fortunately for Liverpool, they boast one of the best technical talent in the league, arguably the world, and that is Trent Alexander-Arnold. Trent marked his return to the starting lineup with a spectacular free kick won by Diogo Jota in the 32nd minute. This goal was his 100th goal involvement for the club. Think about it, that's pretty wild for a defender. The right back's impact was immediate. Not only did his exceptional passing help Liverpool control the game and add that creative flair, but also won 2 of his 3 ground duels, contributing with a robust defensive performance. Despite Trent's creative efforts, Liverpool still struggled to pose a significant threat, managing only 0.56 expected goals in the first half. Why? Well, as mentioned earlier, this issue stems from the team's inability to effectively connect all phases of play. Liverpool dominated possession in the first half, holding the ball 66% of the time, but they seemed unsure of how to make effective use of it. While the performance was more composed than recent weeks, the recurring issue of breaking down compact defences, which limit transition opportunities, was once again apparent. A key part of the problems lie with the centre-backs. Despite their capabilities, both Van Dijk, more notably Quansah, were either unwilling or unable to take more adventurous actions with the ball, such as driving into space or delivering line-breaking passes. Now don't get us wrong, both defenders demonstrated their ability to pass and carry the ball forward. Still, their play wasn't as impactful as needed. They should have taken more risks to truly challenge Fulham's defensive setup. Instead of taking risks, the ball simply moved safely around the back line with no clear strategy for advancing it effectively through the centre. It often ended up being lofted towards the striker, who in turn proved to be inefficient outlets. Defensively, Liverpool's players continued to have their shaky moments, which resulted in losing their clean sheet for the 10th time in 11 games across all competitions. The goal conceded came at a critical moment just before the halftime whistle, hinting at potential struggles in the second half. Fortunately, this time around, Liverpool managed to control the game more effectively. How? Well, we might have discovered something hidden, so hear us out. The last time Liverpool recorded a pass allowed per defensive action higher than 10 was in the 2-0 FA Cup victory against Arsenal, where they posted a PPDA of 12. Yesterday, they registered 11.3 PPDA, suggesting a less intense press than usual. We think Klopp might have recognised that the pressing system was causing issues recently, as we analysed after the Crystal Palace game. Let us refresh your memory. See, the pressing front line was not cohesive, which created huge gaps in the middle for Palace players to exploit. And so we think that Klopp suggested that his players do not press as usual in order to deny Fulham those midfield gaps and to also conserve his players' energy, allowing them to finish the 90 minutes comfortably, because let's be honest, players look drained by the 70th minute mark in recent matches. This strategy proved to be effective, as Liverpool's players not only conserved energy but also maintained the effectiveness of their press, ending the game with 6 high turnovers, 2 of which led to shots on goal. Speaking of high turnovers and their effective use, Liverpool's second goal came from such a scenario. Harvey Elliott intercepted a pass, dwarfing Fulham's attempt to launch a counter-attack. Harvey then passed the ball to Ryan Gravenberch, who signed up his first Premier League goal with a lovely strike. Now wait, Gravenberch wasn't the only Dutchman who impressed yesterday. Cody Gakpo certainly deserves a special mention too. His movements were incredibly sharp, consistently creating space to shake off his marker. Moreover, he was one of the few players who took the initiative, driving the ball forward with powerful runs. This proactive play culminated in the third goal when Gakpo dropped back to receive the ball, deftly turned to evade his markers, and then set up Diogo Jota for a one-on-one that effectively sealed the game with the third goal. And speaking of Jota, how clinical is he? We're not suggesting he'll single-handedly solve Liverpool's issues with wastefulness in front of goal, but it's certainly refreshing to see a forward who can capitalise on his first or second major opportunity of the match, isn't it? With Darwin Núñez and Mo Salah entering the game later on, there was a fleeting hope that the Reds might boost their goal difference by adding 2 or 3 more goals. But let's be real, after the past few weeks, we should just be grateful for the team managing to net 3 and play a relatively comfortable game. Hopefully the squad will feel rejuvenated from Klopp's rotations and the positive outcome of the match. We have to reiterate, there are still 5 more games under Jurgen Klopp to appreciate. As long as the title race isn't over, we need to keep supporting the team to give them a fighting chance to clinch the title. So what do you think? Will this win put the Reds back in contention for the title? Did Klopp's strategic adjustments in decreasing press intensity and resting key players pay off? Or do you think it was a shaky win that didn't entirely convince you? Drop all your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button for more Liverpool deep dives. Thank you, and I'll see you all next time. Take care. Peace.